For years, the loudest rule in housing was simple. Rents only move in one direction, up. Everyone repeated it like a law of nature. If you waited, you'd get punished. If you hesitated, you'd be priced out. And if you complained, people would shrug and tell you that's just how it is now. But 2026 is doing something renters haven't seen in a long time. That old script is breaking. Across a growing list of U.S. cities, the era of ridiculous application fees, painful deposits, and landlords acting like they're doing you a favor is starting to crack. The reason isn't mysterious. A wave of new apartment buildings came online at the exact same time renters hit an affordability wall. People didn't suddenly become picky, they ran out of room in their budgets, so they adjusted in the only ways they could. Moving back home, splitting apartments with roommates, downsizing, or leaving expensive metros entirely. Now the people feeling the pressure aren't tenants, it's the landlords and the investors who bet on endless rent growth. A lot of them are staring at empty units and realizing they can't manifest demand. They have to compete again, and competition means concessions, discounts, flexible lease terms, and deals that would have sounded impossible 2 years ago. So let's take a cross-country ride through 10 cities where rent isn't just cooling, it's sliding hard. Some of these places were the hottest boomtowns on the map. Today, they're turning into cautionary tales about what happens when developers build too much at the top of the market, while regular incomes can't keep up. Stick with me all the way to number 1, where people are comparing the mood to 2008, except this time the pain is showing up in leasing offices and investor spreadsheets, not just in foreclosure headlines. You'll see the same pattern again and again. Too many units, fewer qualified renters, and landlords suddenly discovering they're not the only ones with options. Nashville, Tennessee kicks this off. Pull into Nashville and you still get the usual vibe. The pedal taverns, the honky-tonks, the weekend crowds. But look up at the skyline and the real story shows itself. For years, the cranes never stopped. Developers were convinced demand would stay red-hot forever. Now those towers are finished, the cranes are gone, and what's left behind is a glut of shiny, high-end units priced above what the average renter can comfortably handle. The numbers tell the tale. Year-over-year rent growth has dropped deep into negative territory, and vacancy downtown has climbed to levels Nashville hasn't seen in about a decade. That's the part most people don't focus on. High vacancies don't just mean some empty apartments, they mean leverage swings. Leasing offices start making calls, move-in specials pop up everywhere, and suddenly the market feels different, not friendly, but negotiable. You can see it in the concessions. Almost half of active listings are dangling at least 1 month free. That's not generosity, that's stress. And supply has jumped sharply in a short time, outpacing the real renter base. Even effective rents, what people actually pay after discounts, have dropped from the highs. In places like the Gulch or Germantown, the now leasing banners feel like wallpaper. Nashville tried to position itself as the next big hub for tech and culture, and it may still have long-term appeal, but the short-term reality is simple. Developers built too many upscale units too quickly at price points the market couldn't hold. For renters, that means bargaining power is back. Now let's head west to Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix was the poster child for the pandemic relocation wave. People poured in from California, New York, and anywhere else that felt expensive and cold. Phoenix was sunshine and cheaper living, and for a while it looked unstoppable. But that surge didn't last, and the reversal wasn't subtle. Asking rents across the metro have fallen sharply year over year, and at the same time, developers kept building like nothing changed. Tens of thousands of new multifamily units landed on the market in a short window, pushing vacancy close to double digits. That's a red flag in any city, especially one that had been used to landlords calling the shots. And it's not just apartment complexes. Investors who bought single-family homes to turn into rentals are feeling it too. Rental listings have climbed, but the bigger problem is the affordability ceiling. Phoenix hit it. Rents surged way faster than incomes over the past several years, and once renters can't stretch any further, the market doesn't care what an investor needs to cover their mortgage. The math stops working. Drive through parts of Scottsdale or Mesa, and you'll notice something that didn't exist during the boom: listings that just sit. 2 months, 3 months. And while small landlords are waiting, corporate complexes are blasting the market with incentives like free rent, free parking, and perks that make a single-house rental look overpriced overnight. Phoenix is a reminder that scarcity controls everything in the desert, and right now the scarce resource is not housing, it's tenants willing to pay peak prices. Next is Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville sold itself as the affordable coastal alternative to Miami and Tampa. For investors, it looked like a safe play: steady growth, steady demand, steady rent checks. In 2026, that optimism is running into a wall made of rising costs and too much inventory. Rents have dropped noticeably, and the market has a heavy dose of institutional ownership. Big firms that bought thousands of single-family homes are now facing the exact situation they didn't plan for: vacancies and competition at the same time. On top of that, more owners who can't sell in a softer housing market are choosing to rent their homes instead, which adds even more supply. Jacksonville is also seeing a high share of price cuts early in the listing cycle. That's an important signal because it shows landlords are testing the old prices, not getting bites, and then cutting to chase the market down. Migration has also cooled, which matters because growth forecasts only work when people keep arriving. And then there's insurance, a brutal factor in Florida. Premiums have surged, and landlords are learning they can't automatically pass those increases to tenants anymore. Renewal rates are softer, turnover is expensive, and each vacancy now hurts more than it did during the boom. Drive through areas like Riverside or San Marcos, and you can't miss the "for rent" signs. The shift isn't theoretical, it's visible. Now to Las Vegas, Nevada, where the city that thrives on volatility is doing what it always does: swinging hard. Vegas rent is sliding, and the reasons are layered. A cooling economy affects tourism, tourism affects jobs, and jobs affect what renters can afford. Vacant rentals are at multi-year highs, and average rents have fallen enough to wipe out much of the growth landlords celebrated recently. Employment pressure matters here. When unemployment stays elevated, renters get cautious, roommates become common again, and luxury rent stops being a normal choice. Evictions are also rising, which hits landlords twice: unpaid months, then a vacant unit that needs repairs and time to re-lease. Meanwhile, institutional owners hold a meaningful slice of inventory, and some are discounting hard or selling off to reduce exposure. And supply is still growing, with more units projected to come online even as demand softens. It's almost funny in a dark way. You can walk the Strip and everything still screams money, but 10 minutes into places like Summerlin or Henderson, you see the market reality. Leasing offices offering gift cards, moving services, and multiple months free. Investors tried to charge California-level rents in Nevada, and the market is pushing back. Portland, Oregon is next, and Portland's story isn't just about supply and demand, it's also about migration, perception, and the kind of urban challenges that change where people want to live. Downtown vacancy has climbed into uncomfortable territory. Rents have dropped hard year over year, and population loss over multiple years shrinks the renter pool in a way that's not easy to reverse quickly. Add in strict housing rules, and you get a landlord environment that already feels tight, but the bigger force right now is simply weak demand meeting a wave of units that were approved years ago and are finally hitting the market. A high share of listings now offer concessions, which is basically landlords admitting we can't get this rented at the sticker price. You also see the ripple effect from commercial real estate. Office vacancy is high, fewer workers need to be near downtown, which reduces the reason to pay a premium for an urban address. In poorer neighborhoods, the leasing signs feel constant. Portland landlords are squeezed from both sides, fewer renters and more apartments. Atlanta, Georgia comes in next, and Atlanta's story feels like a familiar story. Institutional money arrived, developers built luxury like it was the only thing worth building, and the renter base didn't expand fast enough to match it. Atlanta has been one of the top U.S. markets for new apartment deliveries. That new supply is weighing on pricing, and rents are down year over year. Occupancy has slipped